Are you struggling to run multiple SQL queries in AWS Athena using the command line? You're not alone. Today, we're going to tackle how to pass queries programmatically through a Python script. I understand how frustrating it can be when you have a set of SQL queries ready, but you can't figure out how to execute them one after another. This is a common challenge for many developers working with AWS Athena. Here's the specific question we're addressing. One user asked how to run a set of SQL statements stored in a file using AWS CLI commands through a Python script. They mentioned using a for loop to iterate through the SQL commands, but were unsure how to parameterize them in the AWS CLI command. Sound familiar? Let's dive into the solution. So what's the issue here? The user is trying to execute SQL queries stored in a file using the AWS CLI, but they are facing challenges with the command structure and parameterization. We'll break this down step by step. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a pro tip that will make your AWS CLI experience even smoother. To begin solving this issue, the user should ensure that the SQL commands in the file are properly formatted. Each command must end with a semicolon to be recognized correctly. Next, the user needs to read the SQL commands from the file and split them into a list. This can be done using Python's split method, which separates the commands at each semicolon. Now the user should iterate through each SQL command in the list. For each command, they will call the AWS CLI command using the Boto3 library to execute the query. Finally, the user should handle the response from the AWS CLI command. This will help them verify if the query execution was successful or if there were any errors. If you encounter an error like invalid length for parameter query string, it usually means that one of your SQL commands is empty. Make sure to check that your SQL file is formatted correctly and that there are no empty lines. Fun fact, did you know that AWS Athena allows you to run SQL queries directly against data stored in Amazon S3? It's a powerful tool for data analysis. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution provided by another user involves using a bash script to run your Athena queries. This script reads SQL commands from a file and executes them sequentially using the AWS CLI. To use this script, save it as runathenaquery.sh, make it executable, and run it with your SQL file as an argument. Let's take a moment to review another user's answer. An alternative approach suggests that the issue may stem from splitting the SQL commands using a semicolon. This method can result in an empty string as the second command, which leads to an error indicating that the query string parameter is empty. The user asks if any output is generated before the error occurs, indicating that troubleshooting may require examining the output of the script. Here's the pro tip I promised. Always validate your SQL commands before executing them. This simple step can save you a lot of time and headaches. And there you have it. You should now be able to run your SQL queries in AWS Athena using a Python script. Remember, practice makes perfect. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.